Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Stevie Bowen, certified dating coach, author, and founder of The City of Dating, a groundbreaking platform and advice column reframing what it means to date in the modern world. Stevie's on a mission to empower singles to discover lasting joy, confidence, and self-advocacy, turning the dating journey into a source of growth, connection, and personal fulfillment. And coming from a single man, I am excited to dive into this. Welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat. That was a great welcome and all-encompassing explanation of what I do.
Beautiful. I always like to start from the beginning. So take me back to before you started the City of Dating. What were you doing beforehand? And then what really motivated you to start the company?
Yes. So I was originally in fashion. I went to school for business fashion and did that in New York City for, my gosh, like 6 or 7 years before getting into the whole dating scene. And it really happened naturally and in a slow burn way. I like to say I had a slow burn relationship with my business.
Yeah.
So I lost my job in 2020 during COVID, like a lot of people did. And I had a lot of time in my hands and realized I'd never reflected on the past 6, 7 years of dating in New York City and just was just going with the flow of it during that time and decided to write thank you letters to my past dates, relationships, one night stands. And the letters basically explain from my point of view the whole experience and then basically thanking them for teaching me XYZ. I
Wow.
started with my first Bumble date, which I called Dear Mr. Bumble. And I loved it and was like, wow, now I suddenly felt like I reflected, I like feel more clarity and decided to just keep diving in more and more with the different dating experiences I had. I realized I wrote a book, so I started pursuing that and
Cool.
ended up getting it published in 2021 and it is called The City of Dating. So that is really the namesake and how it all started and I loved the topic so much. I also loved how I created so much clarity, direction, and just tools for myself from doing that, that I wanted other people to have access to that. So
Yeah.
I started writing my dating advice column every week. And that really came from inspiration from my own dating life at the time, but also from the daters that I was talking to on the streets in New York City when I would go out and really would learn like different topics and challenges that were coming up and go and research it, then write a weekly column on that. So from there, I was doing that for a couple of years and thought, I was like, there needs to be something more to this. I really want to continue helping people. How can I help people one on one? Found out that dating coaching was a thing. I did not know that could be a business of any kind. And I had a experience at a birthday party with a stranger who was asking for some advice on a situationship, I would say. And we had a 30-minute one-on-one session. I got
Mhm.
up from it. He gave me a huge hug and was like, I know what I want to do. I feel really validated. And I was like, what? Like, I can do this? So went home, Googled dating coach, got my certifications, and then launched my business in the beginning of 2024 in February of dating coaching. So it's a slow burn. I feel like it happened over 3 to 4 years. A long-winded story, but that is how it all happened.
Okay, very cool. Do you have a British background?
Yes, I'm originally from England, but grew up in
Okay,
Texas. So I like grew up in both countries. Really
okay.
bizarre accent. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like shifting in and out, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yep, yeah, people think I like I'm from Australia. I don't know. It just feels like I got dropped in the middle of the Atlantic and they said speak. So, yeah.
Made it work. You made it work. Well, thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for breaking that down. And
Yeah.
I was actually shocked too when I found out a couple of years ago that people pay a lot of money for dating coaches. Makes sense because it's a very important part of life and who you choose to spend the rest of your, if you want to get married, etc. It's a very big decision. And in today's landscape, it can be very challenging with IG, all of the different dating apps, etc. I am curious for you when you are coaching, who would you say is your ideal customer? Do you focus on one type of person? Is it just all single people? Walk me a little bit through that.
I would say the age range really is quite diverse. I've had as young as 22 years old and as old as 38. So I have late bloomers in the mix that haven't really had dating experiences until their like late 20s. I
Mm,
have men who have been casually dating and even women who have been casually dating, looking to transition to looking for something more long term and just not quite sure how to make that transition. And then I have people coming right out of the gates, right out of college, who have not had a lot of experience. They're young, but they really want to do dating right and they want to start off
mm,
on a great foot and great foundation. And those are all they're all exciting in their own form, but the ones that are really coming in young is really fun because they're really just like here to learn. They're here to just put their best foot forward, and we really get to create a great foundation for them, which is really, I think, why I started the city of dating. Because when I
mm,
look back on my dating life and when you think about dating in general, we don't get taught dating in high school or in school, and a lot of people don't talk about it with their parents. So
mm,
there's this kind of what do I do? We just get tossed out there. And now with dating apps and dating events and all these other options, it's just like a whirlwind and you don't know where to start. So having those tools in your dating toolkit is what I like to call it, is really exciting. But when it comes to the clients that I work with, it really is quite diverse. For a while, I was working more with men. It's now evened out, but it
mm.
ebbs and flows.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. A lot of people growing up would learn from like rom-coms or like TV
Yeah.
shows or their friends. So it's all not the best places to get advice. So what you mentioned something that's interesting. You said dating toolkit. Talk to me a little bit more about that. What is a dating tool? What's inside of it? What should people be thinking about when they're looking to lay a proper foundation?
Yeah, so it all starts with understanding what it is that you want, you need, and you desire. So I have an exercise that I call Who Are They? Who Are We? And it's basically going through the characteristics, the values, the ethics, the everyday life of
Yeah.
this person, but also of who you are as a couple. And this can even be done if you're not looking for something long term, if you're still in like a casual dating phase, because I think it really just sets the groundwork of, okay, who am I looking for when I'm sifting through dating apps? It makes things a little bit more pointed, a little bit more clear. And then from there is just figuring out your boundaries, especially for first dates. And this can be around like intimacy, this can be around timing, how long you want to be on a date, and where you feel comfortable between date one and date three, etc. So boundaries are a really big part of that. And then also figuring out if you want to be on dating apps fully or if you want to be really diving into the in real life dating scene that's come up now, or how to balance those two and really looking out like what does that look like so you aren't experiencing dating burnout, which is a major challenge for a lot of daters right now. So
Mm.
those are really like the foundational tools. And I have a 4 session package that people can buy. And it's okay, let's just sit down for 4 sessions, figure this out, and then you can get on and go start experiencing.
I like that. I'm super curious to give the listeners more context. What does it look like to work with you? So let's say I'm listening to this, I'm interested. What are the different offers and services? Break that down for me, please.
So right now I am just offering one-on-one. So I have my 4 package, which is creating your dating toolkit, which is essentially what we just discussed. And
Cool.
then there is an 8 package, which is diving even deeper. So we are setting those foundational tools, but we're going into what's triggering you, what's really holding you back, getting into the nitty-gritty to be able to really start like communicating with someone that you're first dating with, what are those things you really need to communicate in the beginning, and just creating those tools and scripts to use as you go forward. And that's really like the 8 week package. And then I have just my drop in ones. So these are for people that really are like, I don't need to commit fully to dating coaching, but I just need to talk about like this situationship I'm in, or I just had these couple of dates with this person. I don't know how I'm feeling, if I want to go forward with them or not. So that's really just like a 45-minute safe space for you to sit down with me and have just like a clarity chat and get some advice, some guidance on what to do going next. And then I have a couple of like freebies, like date
Right.
questions and all of that to give, but I am
Nice.
in the process of creating courses for people to
Hmm.
do like self help. Yeah, in different areas. Some that are going to be around dating apps, some that are going to be around creating that dating toolkit for yourself. That there is an option to do one-on-one, but something that you can do yourself if you're a very like self-motivated person.
Yeah, I like that. What's your, what are a couple of your favorite go-to date questions?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I always like, what is your lost adult purchase? Is
Last
really
adult
lost adult purchase. And you can take that seriously or you can have fun with it. It could be like, oh, I bought my first Dyson, or oh, I bought my a TV, or whatever it was that you're like excited about and it feels like very adult to you. I think you can like get a lot of someone's personality through that question. I also love asking if someone is like a texter, a caller, or a FaceTime person. Because I think texting is one of those early on challenges and like how to communicate in the beginning. But
Yeah.
when you get that question out and you're like, they'd be like, oh my God, yeah, I'm such a texter. Or I never call, or oh my God, I love FaceTiming. Like if I'm calling someone, I'm FaceTiming them. So it's in a low stakes way, getting an idea of like how someone communicates very early on.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. The last adult purchase, that is so interesting.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever asked me that. So I'm
It's
gonna
a
start,
fun one. Yeah.
because I was thinking about mine. I'm like, what the heck was mine? And then I was like, oh, I got a Kindle. And then I was super excited about that. And I literally
Yeah.
told everybody, I was like, guys, everybody has to get a Kindle. This is like,
Yeah. So
yeah.
exciting. So exciting. I actually used that on my first date with my now partner. And I shared with him, I like bought like an Oral-B, like a toothbrush. And I was so excited about it. And it just opens up a random conversation that you may not really have. And you get to really see the everyday life of the person you're
Mhm.
dating.
Yeah, that's cool. And what they value, what's important to them. Maybe they're a
Exactly.
little bit quirky. You figure that out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of coaches and consultants that listen to this, and something that I always like to discuss with them is marketing and lead generation, because I think
Mhm.
it's unfortunately a very important part of this business. But when it comes to you bringing on more clients, when you're looking to acquire more customers, what do you do from a lead gen and marketing standpoint?
Mm. So I have 60% of my clients come from Google search, and that really is through my SEO optimization that I started very early on through like my keywords, through my dating advice columns, which is essentially a blog on Squarespace. And this is before Substack. I really was starting to build that out, and no one being told before I even knew I wanted to go into coaching that it would bring so many leads my way. And then really 30% of it is word of mouth. So networking, going on panels, going to different events, connecting with matchmakers in my field to just get the word out and build trust. And one of the things that is actually lower is only 10% of my leads come from social media right now, which at a growth standpoint, I am looking to build next year. But also, I want to stay true to that SEO and looking into AI optimization now. That's a big conversation in the company and just for where I want to go with the business too.
100%. When you say you want to grow the social media, is that on the organic side, just pumping out more content? Are you looking to do ads for the one-on-one coaching? What's the thought process there?
Ads are definitely in the thought process. Right now, it's really me doing it. And I think as the business grows, naturally, as a one-woman show, it's time to bring on someone. So I think bringing on like a social media strategist, and even as like a millennial, I feel like I'm getting phased out of the Gen Z social media world and maybe can't relate in a way that I really want to, and I need to bring someone on that has that vision already. And I have been on TikTok, Instagram. My content has gotten me a lot of opportunities when it comes to being on podcasts, when it comes to connecting with people and connecting with potential clients and building a community. But I think when it comes to really selling those courses and those self-help ways of working with me, I think building out more of a social media stance and lead generation through there is really what's going to be the thing that
Yeah.
gets that going.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I could imagine you would blow up on TikTok if you were content all the time because your accent is very unique. So if I were scrolling, I'd be like, I don't even have TikTok, but if I was scrolling, I'd be like, what is she on about?
I definitely get a lot of comments of what is this accent, or you sound American and then you switch to British, or
I
you
know.
Australian. I'm like,
That's
that's
so
like a
funny.
big chunk of my comments. So I'm happy comment it. It makes my engagement go up, so I'm fine with it.
Good for
But
the
yeah.
algo.
Yeah,
Good
I
for the
think just
algo.
having someone come in who really knows these algorithms more than I have time to give to them is
Yeah,
really what's going to help me.
for sure. With the one-on-one coaching, I'm curious what the sales process looks like because I know some coaches go the route of just, especially if it's lower ticket, they go the route of direct to cart, checkout page, help yourself kind of thing. And then other people, the majority of the time, it's book a call, get to know each other. What is your approach?
So I am the latter. So you book a 30-minute call with me. However, to book that call, you do fill out a form of a series of 10 to 15 questions. So I can get an idea of who you are and if the call is worth it, we're a good match for coach to client. And
Cool.
then I'll sit on a 30-minute connection call with them. Typically, at the end of the call, I know if they're going to sign or not. I've only had a few where they didn't commit on the call and then they were like, now we're committed after a month. But typically, I know if they're going to commit in that call or not. So that's been helpful of not wasting too much time. But when it comes to like just the drop-in calls, so just having like a one-off call, it really is just go into my Calendarly and book a time and purchase right then and there.
Nice. When you think of the future and
Mm.
really where you want to take the company, like if you were to project yourself into the future 12, 24 months, and you were to paint me a picture of what that looks like, what does that look like? Are there any milestones, targets? What are the goals that you're aiming towards?
Yeah. I think in terms of when it comes like lead generation growth, like when it comes to those courses and like the passive income, I really would want that to be like 40% of my business because the one-on-one, you only have so much time in your day to give. You can only grow so much when it comes to that. So really feel like growing strong on that end, but just growing as like a dating wellness company
Mm,
and really pushing that mission forward because there's not a lot of us out there and really creating a space, whether that's through my social media, that's through my newsletter, that's through my website, like a place where people can either come for free advice on the lower end or like the higher end and just making dating coaching really more accessible for everyone and one that's not confusing and one that's straightforward and actually gives you actionable tools that you
mm,
can start using in your dating life and really becoming a thought leader in the industry and really pushing out this mission and this voice to the daters in the world because I think we're in this space where I think a lot of people are like, let's get back to how it was and in real life dating and connecting away from the dating apps. But I think it's more of us creating a new dating world. I think
mm,
there's no going back, and we don't want to just completely rely on technology anymore. So it is like being one of those driving forces of what the new dating world looks like.
I like that. Have you ever thought about doing group coaching?
I have. That's definitely in the to-do list, in the timeline ahead. And even, yeah, I've done a couple of events and I love movement. So combining movement with coaching, because I think that when you move, you open up, your mind a little bit more. And I've done a couple events around that. So really bringing those into that as well in the next year or two and just making that more
Nice.
accessible for people.
And are those live events?
Yeah, so those are in-person events, but I think jumping into the Zoom and more technically driven group coaching as well is definitely ahead in the next year or two.
For sure. I can see that I can see the participants getting a lot of value from that in terms of just being able to collaborate with each other. I think there's a ton of value in that.
Definitely. And I think it's so helpful for singles to hear other singles' perspectives and like connect in that way. And I think especially as like you get older and you're in your like 30s and some friends have gone on to be engaged or they're married, they're just in different chapters of life. You lose that singlehood. Whether you're a man, woman, whoever you are, you need someone who's also in that same chapter to reflect and talk to about the different experiences you're having. So, really creating a community around that, I think, could be really powerful.
Yeah, very cool. What is the best way for people to reach out to you to work with you?
Thecityofdating.com, that is where you will get all of my services, or at the City of Dating on Instagram, TikTok. You can DM me, you can find all my links there, or just shoot me an email, Stevie at thecityofdating.com. I'm an email person. I love an email, so I'm always checking that. But yeah, the City of Dating, anywhere you can find me.
Awesome. And I always like to ask this to wrap up. If you could talk to your younger self and give that version of yourself a piece of advice, let's say right before you started the company, something that you wish, or not wish, but something that you know today, but you didn't know back then.
Mm.
What
I
do you?
think let the business teach you,
Mm,
because I think I'm quite a perfectionist and I feel like there might be a lot of entrepreneurs out there that always want to get it right in the beginning, but letting the failures and the setbacks teach you how to go forward. I think when you're in business, you feel like you need to know everything when you just jump in, but it's so not the case. When you're actually doing it, the business can teach you so much, whether that's be about yourself or just about the business you're in, about marketing, etc. So I think that would be what I say. Just
mm,
chill and let the business teach you.
awesome. Stevie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.
You as well. So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go to thecityofdating.com. Thecityofdating.com. You can also follow Stevie at the City of Dating on all platforms. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with our team and discover how we were able to go from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing.